Well, a very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us this Saturday. It is the 15th of June 2024. We've got lots we've lined up for you in the next 1 hour, but let's begin with the highlights.
Tonight, Principal Magistrate succumbs to bullet injuries. Chief Justice Martha Koome leads the judiciary in mourning Monica Kivuti. Also tonight,
listen to the ground, but be a leader. Don't be a populist politician who seeks to undermine the government that you're working in.
A popularity contest tainted by a nasty division battle in UDA. DP Rigathi Gachagua vows to put his juniors in their place.
Mimi nimeandikwa na watu ya Kenya na hao ndio wakubwa yangu. Na mimi niko na wakubwa wawili peke yake, President William Ruto na watu ya Kenya.
Plus,
kuanzia wiki ujao tunaanza kujenga madarasa 16,000 kwa mashule yetu yote Kenya.
Rising beyond banditry and effects of floods. Government and non-state actors alleviating education challenges in Baringo. And
the Pokot woman is not empowered. The Pokot woman has no say. The Pokot woman is not supposed to be heard. She's only supposed to be seen. So they are totally dependent on the man.
Out to quash female genital mutilation through women and community empowerment. The inspiring story of anti-FGM crusader Domitila Chesang on equality tonight.
Live from Nation Center, this is Weekend Edition with Zainab Ismail.
Well, thank you indeed for joining us. On the sign language interpretation bit this evening is Flora Tieno. Now, Chief Justice Martha Koome has declared Tuesday, the 18th of June, as a day of mourning for the entire judiciary in honor of Principal Magistrate Monica Kivuti, who succumbed to gunshot wounds sustained on the 13th of June while presiding over an active court session at the Makadara Law Court. The CJ, confirming the magistrate's demise, also condoled with the family and friends of the late who were coming to terms with this incident. Now, in a statement from the judiciary leadership team, CJ Koome says no court will sit on Tuesday, that's the 18th, and that all matters that had been listed on that day across all the courts and tribunals will be accommodated in the court diaries on priority basis. CJ Koome also announced that Makadara Law Courts will remain closed until the 24th of Monday to allow dismantling of makeshift court structures and to allow reorganization of security for security reasons, and that all affected matters listed before the Makadara Law Courts next week will be mentioned before the Milimani Law Courts. In the meantime, the statement also notes that the judiciary leadership will engage the executive and parliament on issues of additional resources to support the implementation of past recommendations touching on securing the judiciary. And also on that note, the judiciary leadership has also called upon the Ministry of Interior and National Administration and the Office of the Inspector General of Police to reorganize the judiciary police unit into a fully fledged police unit under the leadership of a senior commanding officer with a fully functional secretariat. Equally, in the wake of the tragic shooting of the now deceased Makadara Principal Magistrate Monica Kivuti by a police officer on Thursday, the Law Society of Kenya is calling for additional funding from Treasury, saying there is need to bolster security measures within the courts and allocate adequate resources to ensure the safety of judicial officers. Also, in a statement that was released today, LSK says it will actively engage with the judiciary on relevant actions to be taken to overhaul the security police within the judiciary. In the interim, they are agitating for additional funding from Treasury to facilitate the enhancement of those security features within the courts. They say they will also move of the National Council on Administration of Justice to demand for the establishment of a judiciary police unit within the National Police Service to implement a new policy on safety of courts and court officers as well. Further, LSK says it will review the free rein exercised by police within the courts. The trend of certain officers, they say, being allowed in court with their firearms and police having unchecked access to judicial officers breeds untenable contempt and betrays the distinct place of judicial officers as well. And now 4 people have died in a grisly road accident after a lorry lost control and rammed into a popular entertainment joint in Kisii town. And as Judith Cherono reports, the 4 a.m. incident happened during a music performance by the Malaika band led by Prince Inda.
The mangled wreck of the ill-fated lorry being towed away, the aftermath of a grisly accident that occurred at 4 a.m. on Saturday. 3 people died on the spot and the 4th one succumbed to injuries in hospital. Several other people were injured when the lorry that was transporting oranges veered off the road and rammed into revelers attending a music extravaganza at Choma Choma Lounge in Kisii town.
Around 5 wameumia plus 2 securities. I thank God once again. The Malaika band, they are alive.
Dakika kidogo tu tumetoka, mimi nimetoka pamoja na Prince Inda tukienda kulala. Ikilekea saa 10 hivi. Vile tumeenda dakika karibu 3. Tumesikia tu pap 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 kama gari imegonga vitu zingine hapa nyuma yetu.
The lorry also hit another one owned by the Malaika band that was performing at the nightclub when the accident happened. It also destroyed other cars parked at the club.
Hiyo lori ile imekuja kutoka juu imegonga hiyo lori kabisa ikavunjika yote. Hiyo gari yani imemaliza hiyo lori ya kubeba, ile lori inabebanga vyombo zetu. Alafu pia fans wetu pia na masecurity wetu wengine sahi wako hospitali tunashughulika.
Gari yetu is written off. Ni gari imeumia kabisa, but ni kisirani ilikuwa. Siwezi sema ni kawaida accident. Driver yenyewe mwenye lori pia tunasikia alikuwa anakimbishwa.
The injured were rushed to Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital and the bodies of the deceased moved to the mortuary of the same facility. The incident was confirmed by County Police Commander Charles Kasses. Judith Cherono, Mondi, NTV, Kisumu.
Well, away from that, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has launched a scathing attack at staff and politicians allied to President William Ruto. Gachagua said their proximity to the president should not make them think they're his bosses. At the same time, UDA leaders allied to Ruto called Gachagua out, accusing him of engaging in divisive politics and sowing discord in government. Our regional reporter, Margaret Kimathi, has more.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua returned to the village on Saturday, accompanied by a host of elected leaders drawn from all parts of the country. Following recent attacks by UDA leaders allied to President William Ruto, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua came out gun-blazing. Gachagua accused people allied to Ruto of controlling him and undermining his work as the DP. He told of leaders questioning his loyalty to the head of state, saying he understands his job well and will ensure he has delivered on his constitutional mandate.
Atuwe kwa sababu ni rafiki ya rais atukuwe bosi yangu. Even some people wanamsaidia kazi, mapie yake, wanataka tukuniamurisha mimi vile nitafanya kazi. Inawezekana? Hata bloggers ya president want to tell me what to do. Mimi, munanijua? Si munanijua? Bosi yangu ni wangapi? Wananchi wa Kenya na President William Ruto.
The DP says some of his critics in the government made little contribution to President Ruto's election and they did not deliver votes in their backyards to the Kenya Kwanza basket. In a thinly veiled attack to the leader of majority in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, Gachagua said leaders in parliament should desist from politics of hate.
I have seen some people coming to lecture us about tribalism. Sisi tulipatia President William Ruto 87%. Wewe kwenu hamukufikishia 20%. Na unakuja hapa kuanza kutuambia mambo ya unity, ati mambo ya tribalism. Why don't you spend your time kwenu to mobilize the 80% behind President William Ruto kuliko kuja kusumbua sisi hapa?
The leaders accompanying the DP in Kirinyaga and Nyeri counties defended him strongly.
Waambie chuma chao kiwapi? Na hii parliamentary group meeting tunaenda Tuesday. Agenda ya kwanza ni kumng'oa Kimani Ichung'wah atoke kwa kiti ya majority kwa sababu amekosea heshima naibu wa rais.
There are people who are singing and dancing and misadvising the king. And I know you know who they are. I don't need to mention. But I pray that you don't fall into that pit of listening to people who are too close to you, lest you lose sight that you're voted by these people. Ulijireta mashinani, advisors, hawakukutafutia kiti.
At the same time, leaders in President William Ruto's camp have reiterated his commitment to combating divisive politics in the country. Speaking in Kuria West Sub-County, Migori County, National Assembly Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah fired back salvos at Gachagua, accusing him of rocking the Kenya Kwanza boat.
Hatutakubali mtu yeyote atumie siasa za kugawanya Wakenya kwa misingi ya maeneo wanakotoka ama kwa misingi ya kabila zao ili wajitafutie makuu. Sisi tutakaa tukitetea Wakenya wote kwa usawa.
Hakuna haja ya sisi viongozi turudi tena tugawanya Wakenya. Wakenya wanataka wakae kwa pamoja. Wakenya hawajui ukabila. Ukabila ni sisi kama viongozi tunaleta. Nauliza kwa heshima, let us celebrate a one united Kenya.
It is an all-out war in UDA reminiscent of the last term of the Jubilee administration. Will Centre hold? Margaret Kimathi, NTV.
Well, away from politics, as learners across the country enter their second month of the second term, more than 300 ECDE and primary school learners in Baringo County have been attending classes under trees after the floods and strong winds destroyed their classrooms. However, Ministry of Education says it will address the classroom shortage in the country, as Bridget Sangana reports.
A Swahili lesson is underway in Nasinya Nursery School. Here, nearly 50 learners struggle to catch up with their teacher under this tree. This has been the reality for these young learners after strong winds during the long rains season brought down their classrooms.
Kwa mwaka huu mwezi wa 4 hii mvua wakati ilipokuja ilikuwa na upepo kali sana na iliweza kuangusha darasa na ikawa sasa tumerudi pale pa zamani tena. Watoto kaa chini ya miti.
Na ikinyesha mapema tena tukiwa shule tunaenda kwanza kidogo kukaa kwa mahali kwa nyumba ya mtu. Ikipoa kidogo tunarudi. Itabidi to extend darasa.
The learners are being affected because some parents don't allow their children to learn under tree. So some are forced to take their children to different schools.
However, the troubles for 300 learners in Lorecho ECD School, Nasinya ECD School, and Lomayana Primary School here in Salabani have been alleviated after the Street Children's Assistance Network of Nakuru stepped in to provide them with learning materials and food hampers.
We brought them enough materials to build their classrooms. We brought them enough materials to build their toilets, which they didn't have. The children used to go in the bush. We brought them enough to even to build a kitchen. And we've given them enough furniture, desks and benches for all the children. Each child was today given a school bag filled with educational material.
The Ministry of Education says it will ensure learners displaced by insecurity in Baringo will resume learning, as schools in the region are also part of the classroom expansion plans by the government this financial year.
Kuanzia wiki ujao tunaanza kuchenga madarasa 16,000 kwa mashule yetu yote Kenya. Hata hii shule yetu hapa itapata darasa yake. Najua Baringo County mnapata more than 200 classrooms.
The Education Principal Secretary was in Baringo, where he oversaw the resumption of the school feeding program in the arid and semi-arid areas. Bridget Ngana, NTV, Baringo.
And Kakamega Governor Fernandes Baraza has urged the Teachers Service Commission to reinstate over 700 junior school teachers who terminated it recently for engaging in strike. Speaking at the annual general meeting of the Kenya National Union of Teachers, that's Mumias branch, Governor Baraza said the teachers' employer should instead consider improved terms of engagement for its workforce. On May, TSC served show-cause letters to 742 striking teachers who were demanding for permanent contracts and who failed to promptly respond to the disciplinary action. It then proceeded to replace them.
Na Mheshimiwa Ngina Scholastica, maafisa wa ni matumbuizo shule ya msingi ya Mumia. Solidarity.
It is very unfortunate ya kwamba TSC decided to intimidate walimu wetu wa JSS, na sisi kama viongozi ambao tunapenda masomo, and on behalf of my colleagues in the Council of Governors, I want to demand the reinstatement of our 755 JSS teachers. Kwa sababu picketing is their right. Madaktari walikuwa na mgomo. We had a conversation and we unconditionally brought them back. We want the same spirit to apply kwa walimu wetu wa JSS.
Away from that, at the age of 11, Domitila Chesang witnessed the horrifying reality of female genital mutilation at a ceremony in her village, sparking her lifelong crusade against the vice. Years later, she established the IREP Foundation and has since rescued thousands of girls at risk of FGM. Now, despite numerous challenges and threats, her unwavering determination has empowered communities in West Pokot County to abandon FGM and support girl-child education. Her inspiring story is next on our weekly segment of Equality with Rose Wangoi.
My name is Domitila Chesang Chepatula. I'm from the Pokot community and I'm an anti-FGM activist. I grew up at the time where FGM was a normal thing, where every girl older than myself had gone through FGM. And in fact, all the older female members of my family have gone through FGM. I knew that a time will come when I will be put through FGM, and I was so happy about it. I was so excited. I was looking forward to the day I will be cut because of the attention you were given, the gifts, the ceremony, the celebrations. The Pokot community, my community, they do the type 3 of FGM, which is called infibulation. And it's done in 2 stages. There's a first stage and there's a second stage. The first stage is like a slight cut, and this is where all the members of the public are allowed to witness. And then the second stage is done in a secluded place where only women who have gone through FGM participate. So I got a chance to sniff the second stage where FGM, I call it the real cutting or the real butchering or the real FGM happens. My cousin was lying down there in a pool of blood and women had overpowered her. So she was screaming, but her screams were being covered by the singing. The circumciser was cutting, pieces of flesh from her body, from her genitals. So that's when reality hit me really hard. and I realized that it wasn't just the celebration and the attention you're given. So I ran all the way home and I questioned my mother. I just told her, I don't think I want to go through that thing. And she was like, okay, but I was not convinced. By the time I was about 12, I left home and I went to Ortum Girls, which was then one of the best boarding primary schools around. And I hid there, and they accepted me. And because I was also doing very well in my studies, so I became one of the best performing pupil in that school. So I attracted attention from well-wishers who even supported me through primary school. Being in Ortum Girls, I was exposed to other communities and other cultures, and at least being in a school, nobody asks you about FGM. So I just felt that it was the safest place for me, where I could just be a child, I could just be a pupil. During the holidays, I will stay with my half-sister, who was married around Ortum area. So I stayed with her for about 2 years, until I was convinced that I could go back home over the holidays, and nobody was going to pressure me to go through FGM. I never really experienced anybody coming to me or attacking me or stigmatizing me that I have not gone through FGM. It wasn't direct. But I knew that deep down they had that feeling that, I'm a coward. But I accepted it. I was okay with being a coward than lying in a pool of blood. After high school, I joined university, being among the very few girls from my village to ever go to university. So it gave me like a status or another platform where I could come back home and be heard and talk to other people, and they could listen to me. So I got involved in mentorship programs. First of all, I was exposed to other opportunities, and just like that, I found myself now, doing more activism. The Pokot woman is not empowered. The Pokot woman has no say. The Pokot woman is not supposed to be heard. She's only supposed to be seen. So they are totally dependent on the man. So they cannot question what the man decides. If the man says, I want to marry off my daughter at 10, then the woman cannot say anything. If the man says, I want to marry 5 other wives, the woman cannot say anything. So I introduced this economic empowerment for women, beads for business, so that the women can be able to make beads and they can sell them and then they can earn money, so that they can even start saving for their children. And at the speed that they have embraced the program is just amazing. Kotulpo village is a village with no school, with no health facility. There is completely nothing. They have one water point which they have to share with the animals. You have to choose between leaving these girls in the village and exposing them to the risks of FGM and child marriage. So these young girls, they are about between 7 and 9 years old. We had 1 girl, we had 6 girls, 10 girls, and then we went to 14, 16, now we have 20. All of them are in Ortum Girls Boarding Primary School. And more girls now develop the interest to go to schools. In this school, Ortum Girls Boarding Primary School, we have a total of 46 girls. This actually is the first cohort to ever step in a classroom. Few years to come, they'll be going back to that village, the village with no school. They'll be going back as teachers, the village with no health facility. They'll be going back as nurses, as doctors. They'll be going back with the vehicles and all, different professions.
All right, quite inspiring there. But it is time for us to take our first break here on NTV Weekend Edition. However, we still have much more we've lined up for you, so stay with us.
Did you guys watch the game last night?
Of course, on Showmax.
Showmax iko na board? Yeah, the Showmax app on your phone. Every Premier League game live for 500 bob a month.
Go serious?
Oh, no, niambie.
Match highlights, previews, reviews.
Gold Rush, The Righty Show. I love that guy.
And don't forget your documentaries.
And you can rewind and pause any game live.
This is the one game I need us to rewind right now. Let's go.
Bro, I think it's Mike's turn.
Shika the new Showmax app today and get every Premier League game live on your phone for just 500 shillings a month. Shika Showmax, streaming for Africa.
Lego.
Kote nchini mbele tuendelee, mbele Kenya twende mbele,
Kenya twende mbele. NCBA, go for it.
Nivea Pearl and Beauty Deodorant with natural pearl extracts and avocado oils for soft, smooth, and beautiful underarms. The perfect balance of 48-hour protection and care with delicate fragrances. Feel the power of pearls. Nivea Pearl and Beauty for soft, smooth, and beautiful underarms. Try our new Pearl and Beauty Black Pearl for smooth and perfumed underarms. The Global Peace Leadership Conference will convene in Kenya from June the 25th to the 27th at the Radisson Blu Hotel. This event will gather delegates from Africa and around the world to explore and discuss strategies for promoting peace, development, and cooperation. Engaging policymakers, educators, faith leaders, government officials, and other stakeholders, the conference aims to share sustainable peace-building measures, evaluate development frameworks, and formulate community-oriented actions. Don't miss out. Visit www.gplcafrica.org to learn more and register today.
Kenya ni nchi ya mabingwa na
Well, thanks for staying with us on NTV Weekend Edition. Now, Senate Committee on Roads, Transport and Housing have threatened to summon Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director Captain William Ruto if he fails to appear before the Senate on the 2nd of July next month. The Senate committee was to meet the management of the Kenya Ports Authority on Friday, 14th of June, to seek clarification on waivers at the Port of Mombasa, amounting to 325 million shillings, but failed to show up. Fatma Bugu has more.
On Friday morning, the Senate Committee on Roads, Transport and Housing arrived in Mombasa to seek clarification from the Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director Captain William Ruto over a myriad of issues, including waivers amounting to 325 million at the Port of Mombasa, and further undertake a tour of the Kenya Port Authority headquarters. According to the chairman, who is also Kiambu Senator Paul Karungo, the managing director had agreed to meet the committee on Friday only to abscond the meeting. However, Kenya Port Authority officials defended their boss, saying he absconded due to sickness, only to be seen on social media in Naivasha. Never mind, the committee had spent taxpayers' money to travel to Mombasa for the meeting that never was.
Now, there's no communication, even courtesy, at least to call the chairperson, to show that he's not appearing. Because this committee is magnanimous enough. If you were told he was somewhere in Naivasha yesterday, we could have traveled back.
This is the second time the Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director William Ruto is snubbing the senators. On May 23, 2024, he was supposed to appear before the Senate committee, but he was a no-show. He issued a written apology.
So if you look at the issues that we are looking into, is the waivers that are happening at the port, amounting to $2.5 million. Those are hundreds and hundreds of millions. People owe KPA over 5 billion Kenyan shillings. We wanted the MD to be here so that he can commit himself on this answer.
They have now vowed to take legal action against the KPA boss if he continues ignoring them.
I don't think we need to request him to come. We need to issue summons.
The committee has now requested Captain Ruto to appear before it in Nairobi on July 2nd, failure to which he will be summoned.
If he does not appear, now we will be at liberty of invoking those sections of the law before we go direct to the summon, because summon has consequences.
Fatma Bugu, NTV, Mombasa.
All right, and time for another break. But when we come back, Bernard Ndong is already in studio to take us through the sporting action. Stay with us after this break.
Kenya ni nchi ya mabingwa na
Hello there, it's time for the Saturday Sports Update. Good evening, I'm Bernard Ndong. Kenya's Emmanuel Wanyonyi clocked the third fastest time in the history of the men's 800 meters as the Athletics Kenya Olympics trials climaxed at the Nyayo National Stadium, with Ferdinand Omanyala setting a world lead in the men's 100 meters. Elijah Uko recaps the action as a squad of 35 headed to the Paris Olympics was selected.
The final day of the Athletics Kenya Olympics trials concluded in a resounding note as the competing athletes threw down the gauntlet for the games in almost record-breaking fashion. The world 1,500 meters record holder Faith Kipyegon cruised to the 1,500 meters women's title, clocking 3 minutes 53.9 seconds to record the fastest time ever recorded on Kenyan soil. Kipyegon, who will be doubling in the 5,000 meters as well, will chase the Olympic plaudits in Paris alongside Nelly Chepchirchir and Susan Lokayo, who finished second and third while also attaining the qualification time.
We are going to do our best. We are going to work as a team and see what will be possible. You know, to come to Olympics with the Ethiopians, is many international runners, and they are all very strong.
Kipyegon's performance was a sign of things to come as Ferdinand Omanyala ran the fastest time in the world in almost 2 years in the 100 meters, stopping the timer at 9.79 seconds. The time was 0.2 seconds behind his African record that is set back in 2022 at the Moi International Sports Center Kasarani during the Kip Keino Classic.
We're going to do much into the Olympic camp. So if we are doing little and I'm running 980, so the competitor should be very worried.
In the 800 meters, it was a similar story as 19-year-old Emmanuel Wanyonyi rebounded from his fall on Friday during the qualifying heats to romp to victory in the 2 laps race, clocking 1 minute 41.70 seconds to make him the third fastest 800 meters runner of all time. He will lead Wycliffe Kinyamal and Koita Toi Kidali to Paris.
Get 1 or 2 days break, but from Tuesday is back to training, back to preparation. We are in discussion with their technical team for those who will be able to train at Kasarani and at Nyayo, and for any who will want to train in wherever they've been training in terms of the camps.
That first of all, we need to make sure that our team that has been selected today are connected. So airtime and data, we need to make sure that they're insured, you know, when they travel to Paris. So we're taking care of that. And we're actually also, well, this will happen after they come back from Paris, but also giving them financial literacy courses.
Kenya's hopes of reclaiming the 3,000 meters steeplechase Olympic crown rests on the shoulders of Amos Serem, Simon Koech and Abraham Kibiwot. Elijah Ugo, NTV Sport, Nairobi.
Kenya finished third as the Billie Jean King Cup Group 3 concluded Saturday at the Nairobi club. Now South Africa secured promotion back to Europe Africa Group 2 after a dominant display. Kenya's Angela Okutoi was outclassed by South Africa's Isabella Kruger 7-6, 6-3, with compatriot Cynthia Wanjala being dominated 6-3, 6-1 by South Africa's Gabriela Broadfoot. Gabriela paired up with Heike van Vuren to clinch the women's doubles. The South Africans secured 6 out of 6 against Nigeria and Kenya. The West Africans finished second overall.
When we were young, playing with the North and the South, we were always getting beaten easily under 14 and 16. Like, they would see Kenya and they'll be like, easy. But like, I feel like nowadays, like, we've shown that we're capable of doing it, and everyone who's going out there to play us, they're always scared, and we just love that, because when we were young or when we were playing under 14s, they always looked down on us.
It was really good. I think we had some really close matches also, and I think you know, the important points we were able to pull through this week. Yeah, I think also a big difference was how we supported each other, and even in the tough moments we were able to pull through.
Also, the junior starlets will not be complacent in the decisive return leg of their FIFA World Cup Under-17 fourth-round clash on Sunday against Burundi at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Now, Kenya had a dominant display in the first leg where they fired in 3 goals past their opponents. The odds favor the host team to emerge the aggregate winner and qualify for the 2024 tournament that will be held in the Dominican Republic in October.
Playing at home comes also with a lot of pressure because now Burundi wants to get 3 points and have to get more than 3 goals, and also we have a big task of ensuring that we maintain our lead.
We can't underrate any team. Tunajua sio rahisi. Sahi majamaa spirit iko juu na tungependa tu mtupe support. Niseme mashabiki wakuje kwa wingi.
Tukiangalia tulifungwa mwa dakika ya mapema sana, na hiyo ni ya kuangalia, ni nawaza tuanze na oga.
And finally, let's focus on Euro 2024, of course, which kicked off on Friday. Now, to give you an update regarding a match that concluded a few minutes ago, it was a match, of course, with Spain playing in that fixture against Croatia. Spain managed to secure victory, bagging 3 goals, 3 points. They scored 3 past the Croatians. Now, in another fixture, Switzerland, they made the perfect start as well, with a convincing 3-1 win over Hungary on Saturday in Cologne, Germany. Now, the Swiss had a comfortable 2-goal cushion at the interval after Kwadwo Dua and Michel Ebisha scored. Dua, who was
All right, thanks Bernard for that. And before we end this bulletin, just to remind you, 12 minutes is coming up next, and this is about a parapole lifter. Well, Helen Wawira is a parapole lifter athlete who has won various accolades for the country and participated in the Paralympics once. On 12 Minutes, Victor Wafula shares the story of the athlete who is on the brink of having a second stub in Paris when she competes in the last qualifier, Georgia, later this month. This is where we wind up on the sign language interpretation bit. It was Flora Tieno. My name is Zainab Ismail. I do wish you a fantastic evening.
Hii ni para powerlifter na hii ndo story yangu kwa dakika 12. Okay, mimi nilizaliwa Embu. Nilizaliwa nikiwa mlemavu. Yangu haikuwa polio. Na ulemavu wangu uligunduliwa nikiwa mdogo, ambapo niliambiwa na madaktari niko na ugonjwa ambao unaitwa spina bifida. Spina bifida by then haiko inajulikana kwa sababu ni ugonjwa ambao hauko umeenea.
Spina bifida is what we call a neural tube defect. It's a congenital malformation, meaning that you're born with it. So what happens is at about 3 weeks of gestation, that means when the mother is pregnant, she may not even know that she's pregnant, you start to form the things which will form the spinal cord and nerves. Or put it simply, how the baby will communicate with the outside. So if you have a problem with that, you can get what is known as a bifid spine or a split spine. So spina bifida. So it doesn't close properly and it is still open. So that is spina bifida. Normally when a mother doesn't know that she's pregnant during a period called neurulation, anything that would cause oxidative stress would cause that. First thing to note is spina bifida is a continuum of diseases. So if you say one person has spina bifida, it does not mean it is the same as the other person having spina bifida. Number 2, it is a developmental anomaly, meaning that it's an issue with development, and that means there are different grades. So what's important is, number 1, do not lose hope. Number 2, the time at which you find out, you need to quantify how bad the spina bifida is.
Niliingia shule, nikamaliza 2012 form 4. After 2012 nikaenda college, lakini sikumaliza kwa sababu ya pesa. 2015 nikajipata katika michezo, ambapo niliintroduciwa na mwanamchezo mmoja ambaye pia ni para powerlifter. Mara ya kwanza mamangu alikuwa na uoga kwa sababu mara yangu ya kwanza kuingia gym niliumwa sana hadi nilikuwa karibu kulazwa hospitali kwa sababu ya maumivu, lakini wakati ameona matunda yake amejivunia sana na huwa anani encourage.
Kwa majina naitwa David Waore. Helen ni miongoni mwa wachezaji wale tuko nao katika taifa hili la Kenya.
She's found a way that powerlifting can help her earn a living, and in simple terms, she grows maize and beans for herself, but she has a surplus which she sells, and that helps her in her life to have a few things that she otherwise would miss out on.
Seniors wanaweza fika 15 na juniors wanaweza fika 18. Juniors nilianza kuwafanyisha zoezi shule ya ulemavu hii ya Thika, Joy Town. Wako hapo. Na seniors kama kwa kina Helen Embu kuna 3 wanafanya zoezi. Hapa Nairobi kuna kama 8. Kuna kama mmoja Kisumu na Eldoret.
Stop! Rack!
Personally, I would like it to pause a little bit longer. Are the referees going to pick up on it? They haven't picked up on it, so it was enough. Good lift.
Stop!
Chapa! Not particularly dynamic.
No, it doesn't have to be. She managed to get the lift.
Stop!
Come on, Helen. Not to be.
Tulianza naye mnamo mwaka 2015.
Na that 2015 nilifanikiwa kwenda All African Games. Nikapata medali yangu ya kwanza ambayo ilikuwa ni bronze.
Alitustaajabisha kwa sababu ilikuwa ni mara yake ya kwanza na ni miongoni wa wale wachezaji walikuwa napelekwa kama exposure na bahati nzuri ikawa tena yeye ndio alifanya bendera la taifa likapeperuka juu. Tukaenda Commonwealth Games Gold Coast huko Australia. Alifanikiwa kuwa namba 4.
Since then nimetembea sana, nimeenda championships.
Happy moments for 3 young women who have done exactly what you said, worked for years, and a very good start for England and Kenya.
Na Olympics yangu ya kwanza ilikuwa ni 2021 Tokyo, lakini sikufanikiwa kupata medali. Nilimaliza position 5 ambapo nilifurahia kwa sababu ilikuwa mara yangu ya kwanza na sikuwa natarajia kama naweza jipata huko.
Tukaenda Dubai. Matokeo haikuwa mzuri sana, lakini tulirudi tukarekebisha kidogo kidogo. Tukaenda Egypt. Alikuwa mgonjwa kiasi, hakuweza kufaulu vile inafaa, lakini sasa tunaelekea Tbilisi na naona yuko sawa, mwili na respond vizuri kimazoezi.
For now kwanza na trainia qualifier yangu ya mwisho, niko kwa pathway to Paralympics. So natumai ya kwamba hii qualifier ambayo naenda itanisaidia kuongeza pointi zangu ambazo zitanisaidia kufuzu kwenda Olympics. Qualifier yangu iko Georgia, Tbilisi, na itaanza tarehe 20th. So hiyo ndo nawakia for now. Mungu akinijalia ni qualify kwenda Olympics. Lengo langu kwanza ni kuinua 105. Nikiinua 105 itani rank top 3.
Ile tumekuwa tukifanya ni kuangalia kwa hiyo kategori yake na wale wako mbele na wako mbele kiwango gani, na wale wako nyuma yake kiwango gani, na kulingana na zoezi na program tunaendelea nayo tapata medali.
For us, ili qualify kwenda Paralympics lazima ukuwe top 8. Na for now niko number 7. So na work harder at least nisishuke, angalau nipande mbele, nikuwe 4-5. Ombi langu ama lengo langu, goal yangu ni kubreak record kwa kategoria ya up to 41 ambayo sasa iko na China ameinua 123 kg. So mimi nataka angalau niinue 125, at least nikuwe na legacy kwa that category, nikivuka category next ambayo ni 45 category.
Hapo awali tulikuwa na serikali mara 2, ya kitaifa na ya bodi yetu kama KNPC. Hiyo ya awali tulikuwa na challenges. Hii iko sahihi, inajua mambo ya spoti vizuri, kwa sababu ukiona for the first time waliweza kutoa Helen kutoka Embu kukuja atrenie huku, na wameweza kuleta mpaka gym mpya kama hii. Bora tu afanye zoezi kwa mazingira bora. Wamemwezesha na wanaangalia kila mchezaji, mpaka unakuta president wetu Ronald Milari anatembea mpaka mashinani huko akiangalia vile wachezaji wanaendelea.
Nimesaidika sana kwa sababu at least nimeweza kujisimamia, siishi na wazazi, naishi kivyangu, na nimeona inanisaidia sana kwa sababu pia nimeinvest, so siwezi lala njaa. Kwa wachezaji mimi naweza waambia ni vizuri kama uko na talent yoyote, ni vizuri kujitokeza, kwa sababu ukikaa chini ujihurumie pia society itakuchukulia vingine. So ni vizuri ujiaminie, watu wajiaminie na wajipende ili society itupende. Mimi ningependa kuambia watu wote ambao wamezaliwa na hii condition ya spina bifida wasife moyo kwa sababu si mwisho wa maisha.
What I would want people to know about spina bifida is this. It is just a diagnosis. It doesn't mean the person's life is over. Number two, if you are a mother or a parent or a caregiver taking care of somebody with spina bifida, you shouldn't do it alone. So you should look towards the hospital. There are different groups. At present within the country, there are two I'm aware of. There is SHAC, the Spina Bifida and Hydrocephalus Association of Kenya, number one. Number two, there's another new up-and-coming association made from some people from SHAC, known as Child Help Kenya. With these two associations, you should be able to at least start getting the support and knowing where to go. What I would urge mothers is, number one, do not give up. I know it's strange, I know it's different, I know the books use words like grotesque, but it's your child. Number two, especially with all of these people like the person we're discussing today, you can see you can do incredible things.